There we go. We'll go back on the record. It's 11:30. This is the City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement Other Matters agenda. Anybody who was not here when we did the 9 o'clock agenda and wasn't sworn in, if you're going to be speaking to me, I need to place you under oath. So if you'll stand and raise your right hands, please. Thank you. Do each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You can have a seat. We'll proceed. We have 10 or 11 matters on this agenda this morning. As your case is called, you can come up to the podium to my right. The city will provide some background information on the property that's the subject of the request for the reduction. Once I've gotten the information from the city will likely or may make a recommendation on the disposition of the request. Then I'll hear from the applicant. You can tell me whatever you feel is appropriate about the request that you're making. And once I've heard everything, I will make a decision in the request for the lien reduction, and that's how we'll proceed. So make sure your cell phones are silenced, and with that, let's go ahead and get started.
First case number 7, 509 34th Street, CE 171201875, 509 34th Street. Also, number 8 is 509 34th Street, CE 080308874. Mr. Baldwin?
Okay, go ahead.
Mitch Posner, City of West Palm Beach. As always, going in chronological order, oldest case first.
Yeah.
Case ending in 874, 509 34th Street, date ordered 6/13/08. Fine started 8/13/08, ran for 26 days. Total $2,600, $100 a day, date of compliance 9/8/2008. Same owner. Mitigation is, they state it was complied in time, gave a date of May 26th. But if need be, we can provide the pictures showing that it clearly had not been painted, and that's what the fine ran for. The city is asking for 50% on that one. Case ending in 187, 509 34th Street, date ordered 2/7/18, fine started 3/10/18. Ran for 815 days, total $81,500, $100 a day, date of compliance 6/2/20. Same owner. Mitigation is issues with between the owner and the tenant, and they had not changed their PAPA address, so they didn't receive the notice that was sent to the correct PAPA address. It ran for no rental license. Based on the size, instead of the normal 50%, city's asking for 30% on that one.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Morning. My name is Wally Baldwin. I'm the attorney for the owner. In regards, the first case I believe that was addressed is the case ending in 0874. That's for repair roof, walls, foundation, and paint. In our application for a reduced fine, my client advised that he did have the repairs done. He was out of state, hired a handyman to do it. And on July 14 of 2008, within the time to comply, he faxed a receipt showing the work that was done, excuse me, to Officer Kevin Levine, and that it stated the violations had been repaired in May 26 of 08. So he did no further follow-up, but apparently the property wasn't brought into compliance for some time, resulting in a fine for 19 days. So what my client would like to request is a reduction to 10% of the original fine amount.
Okay. And then what about
The second case? Okay. Second case ends in 0187. That's a outdoor storage boarding certificate. My client resided in California, and at the time he had a tenant in his home, and it was a very contentious relationship. He had neglected to change his property address on Papa to California. So West Palm Beach did comply with the proper notice requirements. However, he did not get them and wasn't aware. The tenant didn't notify him. So there was some litigation back and forth. They were able to get the tenant out in 2019. And when they went to do a title search to sell the property in May was when they discovered this. So that's when they hired my office, and we immediately took care of it.
Okay.
So my clients offered a reduced payment amount of 10%.
Okay. Anything else from the city on this one?
Yes, sir. City does not dispute having received a copy of the receipt for the work that was done, but at this time I will present the pictures from that original case along with the original notice of violation. It was for repairs and for painting the outside, and the non-compliance pictures attached clearly show a house in need of paint. Additionally, bottom line is this one is the owners, they really shot themselves in the foot. They live in California, did not, and rented the house here, did not have somebody local to manage the property for them, which is also a city requirement, and that really caused all their own problems for them.
Okay.
So was the requirement for the painting, was it for the entire building?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe there's two pictures there, one front, one back, showing how badly it needed it. You know, had they also painted it in May when those repairs were done, the pictures wouldn't look anything like that.
Right, okay. I think the biggest concern for my clients is clearly the other case, which is $81,500.
Sure.
And it's under contract for sale. There is a mortgage on it. You know, they respectfully are requesting the 10% reduction. You know, I acknowledge it's the property owner's responsibility to be aware of the codes and regulations. However, when they did become aware of this issue, they immediately hired me, and we worked as quickly as we could.
Understood. Okay. Thank you, sir. Anything else from the city?
No, sir.
Okay. So for the case ending in 874, just for the sake of paperwork and accounting, I'm going to just eliminate that and reduce that to 0. For the case ending in 187, that lien is currently $81,500. I am going to reduce that one to $15,000 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Case number 6909 Upland Road, CE 181102659, 909 Upland Road, number 6.
Hello, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 265909 Upland Road, date ordered 2/6 of 19, fine started 5/8 of 19. Ran for 496 days, total $49,600, $100 a day. Date of compliance 9/15 of 20. Same owner. This property under their ownership has been cited 13 times. Essentially, it's been city managed. Their mitigation is they thought it was complied in January of 2019, but we've got pictures from June of 19 show it's still not complied, and still wasn't complied when the application for the lien reduction came in. They did that during this process. City's asking for 50%.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Tell me your name and address first.
my name is Kaylee. The property address is 909 Upland. It's my first time. I never know I have lien on my house. And every time I got the mail, I do taking care. I don't know what I can say. I do a lot of work and outside the storage I clean up and landscaping is clean up, and I even fix the window, change the window and put the hurricane shutter, and I go over it daily to keep clean up everything, and till my tenant gotta, prepare everything. But I never know. I never get a letter to, say I have something need to do. If I receive all the stuff every time, first time I will call and taking care of that stuff. I'm not letting my property go like garbage junk. It's my retirement thing. So I do like to keep that one, and I don't know what I can say. First, I have like 4 different people come, but the last one didn't close the case, and it was mass search, and I made him. I put the hedge, and I put the dirt for my yard, and keep everything is good. And he said he going to taking care of the hearing. And I thought it was closed, so I said, okay, to this year. And I got the things clean. I found out I do have a lien on my house. I never know that. I never received anything tell me I have something. But I do have some picture to show you. I did some work and painting the stair. I painted the stair like 4 times already. I fixed the window and put the hurricane shutter, everything, and the landscaping. Now I hire the professional, landscaping. Only thing that don't have grass because I got a bigger tree. So under the tree, its grass never grow up. I do did the permit for paver stone. Maybe I put the paver be good, but into the years I don't have that kind of money. Maybe next year I can put on. I just hope I can get away from this. I don't know.
Okay, and I understand your property is in compliance. You wouldn't be able to be here asking for a reduction if you hadn't done all the work. So I understand that you've done all the work and that everything is now in compliance. I have a question for the city. You had mentioned that there were 13 previous violations or others besides this one. Did those all get to the point where notices were sent?
All our cases start with the notices getting sent. All of the others were complied before a hearing, though. So
Okay.
no other findings of fact, no other adjudications besides this one. May I ask a question? Because I'm sorry, I didn't catch her name.
Kaylee,
Okay. If I may, sir, the mitigation says they thought it was complied in January of 19, but the case note in this case from Officer Sargent was met with the owner today, January 29th of 2019, and told her the stairs and fence were compliant, but all of the others he would ask for 90 days for. That's the note he put in. Unfortunately, he's no longer with the city. I can't bring him here to testify to that fact.
Okay. Ma'am, do you have anything else to tell me based on the further statements from the city?
I receive some every time I receive the things I do taking care. I would do call, and for my first time was Miss Maggie, and I do fix a lot of stuff, and she do tell me I do meet with the Fulton customer service as like 2 times. Beginning one time until I finish, she come check and sign off things. Only thing Miss Mr. the search, and he will say, okay, he will go into taking care of the hearing. I don't need to come, and he say was everything. He come check everything. I put the hedge, I painting the stair, and I clean the outside the junk car, and landscaping. So the 90 days just let the grass grow up. But the only thing everywhere is grow up, and only under the tree they don't have, because a big shade, the grass don't grow up. It's the only thing.
Did you have pictures that you wanted to show me?
Yes.
Need to go ahead and let Mr. Posner take a look at them, and then you can
Yeah.
bring them up here. Does the city have any objection to those?
Sir,
being
city
made?
has no objection other than to point out there's no
Okay.
time or date stamp, so I couldn't begin to guess when they were taken.
These are current pictures?
Yes.
And that work's all completed now? And that's, all this work is complete now? Okay. All right. Then without objection, there are 11 photographs from the respondent that we'll include as part of the record for today's hearing. Thank you, ma'am.
One final comment, if I may, sir.
Yes, sir.
Regarding her last statements, I would agree that 12 out of the 13 times she was cited, she did comply once she received the notice, but that just goes to our point that it's basically city managed. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Understood. And that's kind of why I asked my question about how far each of those cases got, so. Okay. Ma'am, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
I just seems to me, I don't know if, can you just,
Anything else from the city?
because it was
Sorry.
because it was not my fault. I never know I have the lien on me. If I know that I'm not letting my, you pay $100 for day, I don't taking care of the violation. If I got the notes, I would right away taking care. And only thing I feel like it's not my fault. I should have paid that one.
Well, no, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, if you're the owner of the property, the responsibility is yours to maintain
Yeah, but
the property.
nobody give me letter, let me know that. And if I don't find out this time, I still don't know that I have a lien on my house.
Okay. So in this case, the lien is currently $49,600. Based on the testimony and photographs I've looked at, and from both the city and the applicant, in this case, I'm going to agree, I'm going to reduce this to $15,000. I can give you time to pay that, but I'm not going to reduce it any more than that. I can give you up to a year to pay that.
15,000?
Yes, ma'am. From almost 50,000.
I mean,
I'll give 12 months to pay that.
Sir, just to be clear, I wasn't sure, 15 or 16?
1-5.
Ma'am?
It was.
Okay. Where to?
Thank you.
Next case, numbers 1, other matters.
Number 1?
Yes, 952 42nd Street, CE 06030167. They're also here for number 9. 9 as well, the same address, CE 111000005.
Hello.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Chronological order, older case first, case ending in 167, 952 42nd Street, date ordered 8/11 of '06, fine started 9/12 of '06, ran for 4,763 days, total $476,300, $100 a day, date of compliance 9/27 of '19. This is a new owner based on the size of the lien. The city is asking for 5%. Case ending in 005, 952 42nd Street. Date ordered 1/4 of 12. Fine started 2/7 of 12. Ran for 426 days. Total $42,600. Daily fine $100 a day. Date of compliance 4/8 of 13. City is asking for 25%. Also new owner. Property purchased for $115,000. Currently on sale for $285,000. Well, I'm sure they put some money into it. This is a Prodigy Capital property, and they understand the system. Buy the property, come in for a lien reduction, and not have to pay anything. So yes, 5% on the first, 25% on the second.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Colleen Gourlay. I'm an agent for the owner, trustee William Fernandez. I do have the designated agent form signed
Okay.
with me as well. This is for 952 42nd Street, as I stated. We actually are no longer Prodigy Capital. Prodigy Capital is an entity that no longer exists. It branched off into 3 separate parties, so I would just like to make sure that you guys are aware of that.
That is
No
definitely good to know. Thank you.
Also, we did purchase this property, well aware that there were liens on this property. The previous owner basically gave us the option of not buying it and losing out on the chance to invest in the property, and he would go with another buyer or give us a $5,000 reduction to the price, which is what we, as he said, we ended up paying.
Sorry.
It's okay, 121,000, I believe is what you said. I believe is what we purchased it for, and we do have it under contract for 281. However, the appraisal came back at 260, so it actually
You said
is not getting that full amount either.
so you bought it in February, it looks like, according to the information I have, and you're,
The last week of February,
Okay.
like the 26th.
and did you say you're under contract to sell it now?
We have been since July.
Okay. Did you put rehabilitation efforts into this? Can you tell me about that?
We did actually, we reconstructed it. We spent, I believe, $85,000 into this property, including brand-new appliances for both sides, as well as the fixtures, and having to go back and redo permits because we found out our contractor had actually not pulled permits during COVID. And that was part of the issue of why our application for lien reduction was from June, and we didn't get to see you
I
guys
see.
until today, because we had to go back and get our contractor to rectify that.
Is this a multifamily
It is a
property?
dual unit. There is 952 and 954, which is recognized by West
A
Palm Beach.
duplex?
It is a duplex, yes.
Okay.
It does show us 2 units on Papa. Whether or not the city has the same configuration, I'd have to look into that.
Right, no, that's fine.
I did, when we pulled the AC permits, I did have to speak with West Palm Beach to make sure that they did recognize it as 952 and 954, because they made us pull a permit that stated 952 and 954 as the address, so the city is aware.
Okay. Anything else, ma'am?
We just know that we have the new buyers, that we put a lot of money into this, and the buyers are really good people. They're actually hoping that this gets all taken care of today, so that way we can close on this property and they
Okay.
can officially own it. So it's not actually going to be us that you'll be dealing with in the future, but we are taking care of it so that these owners can take it clear of title. And we did put in quite a significant amount of money to get this property changed from the standard it was in to the current status, the current pictures actually, as you can see, with new windows and everything.
Okay. So we have a lien for $42,600 from a 2011 case and a lien for almost $500,000, $476,000 from a 2006 case. New owners that have put $85,000 into the property to rehabilitate it. In this case, for the case ending in 005, that's the $42,600 lien. I will agree to reduce that one to $5,000. And for the case ending in 0167, that's the $476,300 lien. I'll agree to reduce that one to $10,000. How long to pay those?
Okay, so that would be a combined total of 15. Okay, I believe that I have permission to agree to that amount, so that should be fine.
How long does it take you to, will it take you to?
Well, we have it under contract, so we can probably put it on the HUD for closing, so if you give us 30 days, that should
30
be fine.
days.
Perfect.
Okay.
And thank you all.
Thank you. 15 seems to be a magic number on my brain today. I don't, it's not by design. It's just happening that way.
Number 4, other matters, 926 36th Street, CE 15110473. Number 4, 926 36th Street.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready.
Case ending in 473, 926 36th Street. Date ordered 1/6 of 16. Fine started 2/8 of 16. Ran for 1,648 days. Total 164,800. Daily fine $100 a day. Date of compliance 8/13 of 20. This is the same owner. The mitigation on the application is they thought it complied in time but never received a call back. But the fine ran for no rental license, and that was not resolved until August of 2020. So they had not complied at all. The city is asking, well, normally it'd be 30 cents. Based on the size, we're asking for 15%.
All right. Yes, sir, if you could tell me your name and address, please.
My name is Patrick Williams, 926 36th Street, West Palm Beach, 33407.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Am I allowed to ask questions? Am I allowed to ask?
You can ask Mr. Posner any a question about, yes.
Yes.
About what he's
Sir.
told me.
When you get a code violation and you complete the whatever it is, how would the city know that you completed the work?
I'm sorry, is the question, how do you know that it's completed?
Or would the city know that you completed the work?
How does the
that
city
they
know?
give you the violation for?
After it goes to a hearing, the magistrate gives a certain amount of time to fix the property, the issues, and then code enforcement will go back out and inspect to determine if it's complied or not.
Okay?
In this particular case, the visual issues were all complied, because you did take care of the landscape and the other issues, but it still needed a rental license. And they don't have to see the property to determine that, they could just check our records to determine if there is a rental license, and there was not, so it was not complied.
Yeah, but there was not a rental. I live at the property since 1998 or somewhere about there, so there was no rental.
Straight, I'm not going to debate the merits of the original case.
That's where I live, my son, my wife, and
Okay, it's one at a time. I didn't hear what you said, Mr. President.
I'm not going to debate the merits of the original case. It's already been
Oh, yeah, right,
adjudicated
okay.
as a rental violation. It's a 2-unit property. The Papa mailing address for them is in Port St. Lucie.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't hear what you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay, did that answer your question, sir?
yeah, but, well, I don't think it's quite, because what I'm trying to ascertain is, I called, because we're talking about dirty house, so I didn't know that this was all about rental property. I thought it was dirty driveway and stuff like that. So I called after I cleaned the driveway. I called because he leave a phone number for me to call. And I called because I wanted them to see what was the problem with my driveway. My neighbor has a well, and when he tried to water his grass, the wind blow the rust water over into my driveway. And I cleaned it. I wanted them to see what the problem was. I make several calls to the office. And when I couldn't get him, I called and I asked the person who answered the phone, how do I get in touch with this officer? They said, all you have to do is leave a message on his answering machine. He never called me back. So I just assumed he came out, inspected the driveway. This is news to me about rental. Nobody has ever, that property has never been rented. It's 2 cottages. My son lives in the back. My wife works south, and she stayed, we used to stay in the house. Now that my son, we switch around, and he live in the front house, which he had put almost $30,000 into that property. And I wouldn't be putting that kind of money in that property if I known that the city of West Palm Beach owned it. And the thing about it is that it says in the lien that the city, whatever the compliance is, should be taken care of within certain days.
Right.
And if the city, if it wasn't taken care of, the city attorney would be instructed to foreclose or sue to get monetary, compensation. And this is almost 5 years, and if I wasn't doing a property search on my property in Belgrade, I would not be aware of a lien existing on both properties. It would be another 20, 30 years, whatever. I don't know how long, it would take. I wouldn't know if I didn't do that, because I had no notification that there was any lien on the property or any violation. I thought I took care of it. So,
The code enforcement case includes all of that. It includes the paint and the driveway, but you were also found in violation in 2015 of not having the appropriate rental license or
but
certificate.
it was never rented.
Well, I'm telling you what you were found to be in violation of. Did you go to that hearing, and did you tell the magistrate at that time that you never rented the
I
property?
am not aware of that hearing, Your Honor. I'm not aware of that hearing.
Well,
because
clearly
the
you were
property
aware
wasn't
that you were in violation of the other violations because you've been talking about them the whole time you've been up here. You're asking questions about them, and it was all grouped into the same case.
Okay.
So I don't believe you weren't aware that you were alleged to be in violation of not having the rental license.
The first time I
don't
became
believe
aware
that
of
at all.
that, I fill up a form and send it in to show that the property was, I wasn't aware of. I wasn't aware of it.
Do you
Because-
have evidence with you today that shows you've never rented the property?
No, no, Your Honor.
'Cause that's
I've
what you're
never
telling me, you've never, ever rented
It
it.
never ever been rented. From the moment we moved in that property, my son live in one building, my wife and I and my grandson and my niece live in the other building. It has never been rented.
Magistrate?
Yeah.
If that statement is going to be a factor in the decision, I'd rather pull this case, because
Well,
we haven't heard that
I'm-
contention before, and we haven't had a chance to look into that.
No, I will, here's what I will do. I would agree to continue this hearing to give you an opportunity to come back with evidence that you've never rented the property.
Okay.
But
So what so what I have to do? That's like a letter from somebody, get it notarized?
well, I'm not here to give you
Okay.
legal advice about how to make your case. I'm just telling you that I'm willing to give you the opportunity to do that, and we can reschedule this for a different hearing day.
Well, please do, Your Honor. I would appreciate it if you
And
do
then
that.
if the city wants to look into it as well, and maybe you guys can work it out behind the scenes, but if not, I'll be happy to continue this and give you an opportunity to bring back evidence to convince me that you have never rented the property, and that would be a factor I would consider in how much to reduce this lien.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate it.
I'll let you guys work out the scheduling of that and bring it back whenever, but we'll continue this matter to a future agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case number 3, 411 47th Street, CE 16040566. It's number 3. The same gentleman is here for 2 other cases for a different address as well, just for 10 and 11, but right now it's number 3 for 411 47th Street.
If it's okay with the magistrate, we'll do all together.
So we're talking about 3, 10, and 11.
Sir?
That's fine, we can do that.
Number 10 is 712 59th Street, CE 19040092. Number 11 is 712 59th Street, CE 19040589.
But they're all 3 different properties, we just have the same representative, is that?
Same owner.
Same owner, but 3 different addresses.
2 different addresses. 3 liens, 2 addresses, same owner.
Oh, I see, 712 59th is 10 and 11, and 411 47th is 3. Okay. I'm caught up.
Starting with 411 47th Street, case ending in 566. Date order 6/1 of 16, fine started 8/1 of 16. Number of days 680, total of $68,000. $100 a day, date of compliance 6/12 of 18. Same owner. The mitigating circumstances is, in quotes, thought it was complied. Bottom line is there have been 18 cases on this property under his ownership. Between the 3 properties he owns in the city, 51 cases under his ownership. This particular one was managed under chronic nuisance from 2016 to 2019, and when the chronic nuisance case was opened in 2016, the chronic nuisance officer had a couple of in-depth conversations with the owner advising him of the fine on the property. At the time, he had many choice words for the original case officer that caused the fine. So thought it was complied doesn't really work as a mitigating circumstance for us. The city's asking for 50% on that.
Okay.
Okay. To the other property, case ending in 092 712 59th Street. Date ordered 7/17 of 19, fine started 8/19 of 19, ran for 290 days, total $29,800. Fine $100 a day, date of compliance 6/12 of 20. 24 cases on this property under the ownership. It is the same owner. City's asking for 50%. Case ending in 5/8/9, 712 59th Street, date ordered 7/17 of 19, fine started 8/19 of 19, ran for 352 days, total $35,200. Daily fine $100 a day. Date of compliance 8/5 of 20. Same owner. City's asking for 50%. And bottom line is the properties he's owned have been very clearly city managed instead of owner managed, presenting a lot of extra work for the city.
What was the actual violation in the one ending in 589? It just says restrictions on land use. Can you tell what?
It was an illegal conversion to a second.
What?
Illegal conversion, having a second unit in there
Okay.
without permits.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let me get your name and address.
My name is Craig Goldberg. Need my address? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
sir. Please.
7050 West Palmetto Park Road in Boca Raton.
Thank you.
First of all, we have always complied. Anytime there's been these properties are rented. So anytime there's been a violation, it's always been corrected. The one I'm here for today, we'll start with the one on 47th Street.
Yep.
Magistrate, sorry for the interruption, but I'm not sure he's listed as a designated agent.
Excuse me? I've sent in the paperwork to be the agent.
The agent?
And Monique has all the.
A designated agent for the owner?
I gave it to her. I gave her the notarized information when I first met with her.
All right, let's,
It was all notarized. She asked for it up front. It was supposed to bring it to the hearing, but she said she needed it up front,
Okay.
so.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. We do stand corrected.
Okay, so I'll start with the one on 47th Street, the one that I think started in 2016, correct? Or 2016.
Yep.
I had I had met with the code officer. We were under to get clarification on what needed to be done, because as I mentioned, even though there have been past violations, a lot of those violations, and I'm not making excuses, because a few of them were for my lawn guy not cutting it and kind of when he was supposed to. But most of those violations were due to my neighbor. My neighbor is a multi-8-unit complex right next to me that actually sides the house, so their backyard is basically my backyard. If you show a picture of the side of the residence next door. I don't know if you can, not there. No. But you'll be able to see it here in a... No.
Magistrate, the
Right
property is
there. There
referring
you
to
go.
is
Okay, so
behind it
if
and
you,
to the
if you
east.
see the picture right there, back up.
I saw it, yep.
Okay, so their backyard, and they have kids. The house has been empty for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, because we've had no money to fix it up. I mean, just haven't had the money to fix it up. We have kept it up. But again, a lot of the things that we get called for were because of the neighbor with the trash and everything else that was in the backyard, and bicycles and all kinds of things. But regarding this specific case, I did meet with the code officer and was under the impression that I was in compliance when I last spoke to him. I had even sent a letter, which I have a copy of here via email, to the city, if I may.
And show Mr. Posner, and then I'll take a look at it.
Okay. This letter is dated July 6th of 2016, which was before the fine started. And I do have it on email if you'd like to see. It was sent to the city.
Okay.
That's a printout of it, but I do have it in my email. The lack of communication, once I was told what to do, it seems to be the issue here. Had I known I was that I was being fined for 400 some odd days, had no idea I was being fined. I found out via the title company, because the property is under contract, and that's how I found out there was even a lien on it to begin with. I had, in 2008, took me 2 years to be able to get some money together and borrow some money to be able to fix it up. But in the interim, I always kept it up. Yes, they did cite me for being under a nuisance order, but I have documentation here. I have a notice. This is a July 2016 email that I sent with sent it to Mr. Posner. Outlining who was upkeeping the property, because that's what they asked for. So I gave it to them. I also have one here that they
Sir, I just need you, you need to speak into the microphone and then hand it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That was in reference to the first nuisance letter, and then you asking for
Okay. And just a little bit of housekeeping, the July 6th letter is already part of the record. It looks like it's on the screen, so that was already in the city's
okay,
file.
so,
So let me take a look at these two real
okay.
quick. I have
I think that's all the same. That's just 2 pages.
a 2-page letter dated July 21st to Mr. Posner.
Right. That was, they asked me when they first sent out the nuisance thing, they asked me for the names of those who were, watching the property and who was the lawn service, so I sent that to him. I also have one that was sent a year later after they had asked me for an updated action plan. So I have another letter right here.
All right, let me just make a note, other than the city's disagreeing that with the accuracy of the comment regarding the repairs to the exterior of the home having been
Okay,
completed, this will be made part of the record if it's not already in the city's file. Yeah.
It's not a matter of accuracy. I don't have my own copy to refer back to, so I wanted you to be aware of that for a comment later.
Okay.
No objection other than to note the date.
Okay, this is an August 15th, 2017 letter.
Yes, the city had sent out a notice for an updated action plan on the 10th of August of that year. So that was sent 5 days later. I think they give you like 15 days to respond. So as you can see, I responded immediately. As I mentioned, I've always responded immediately to any violation that the city had sent with regard to any of the properties. But in this particular case, as I mentioned, I wasn't aware that there was even a lien that had started. The letter I had sent in July, if you read it, I had said all work was completed, given what he had told me, especially the rotted wood and everything. So I was under the impression that I was finished. He called me back the day of the hearing, that was the code enforcement guy, and said he was giving me another 30 or 60 days or whatever it was. I said I didn't need it, it was already complete. And that's what the letter states. So I had no idea there was even a fine running until, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. I had the property under contract, and when the title company did a title search, that's when I found out it was even there. Otherwise, it would have been gone immediately, because I would have taken care of, assuming I had known I still wasn't in compliance, which I don't believe I wasn't, but if I did, I would have taken care of it immediately, and it wouldn't have run like it did. like I said, all work was completed. And like I said, in 2018, you'll see the house was completely redone on the outside. So,
Okay.
you know, that's where it is. I mean, like I said, the issue that I seem to, I don't know, how does the city, what is the mechanism for communications between the code officer and the homeowner?
Well, all I can tell you is that the law puts the burden on the homeowner to let the city know when an inspection is required or when they feel it's in compliance, or it's not the city's job to babysit.
Okay.
It's the property owner's job to be proactive.
Right,
And that's,
which I think I was in this case.
that's what the law says.
Right,
So
which I
that
think-
I know.
right.
What the mechanics are, that's above my pay grade. I can't tell you that.
Okay. Well, I had sent the letter stating I believed it was in compliance, and I never heard back, is why I asked that question.
Okay.
So that's really all I have on that particular property, because that's all there was. It was
Okay,
just
well, let's talk about the other one then.
712 59th is a whole different.
Actually, before we do, does the city have any follow-up on?
Very much.
On this property?
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Let's
First,
do
this
that.
is the case history from the chronic nuisance case itself. Unfortunately, it's in reverse chronological order. So the beginning of the case is on the last page. Now, regarding the email he submitted from June of 2016, that was an action plan he turned in as required for the chronic nuisance case. It was accepted, but that paragraph that I pointed out to you states that the exterior violations, the repairs that were needed, would be done by the end of that year. The next email he showed you was August of the following year, after we'd said, this wasn't done, we're revoking the action plan. On the history of the chronic nuisance case, you'll see our first contact was in June of 16. June 29th of 2016 would be the entry. It was a rather lengthy conversation. I had trouble explaining things to him because he kept interrupting, mostly to complain about Mike Williams, who was the original case officer. But
excuse me.
I did impress upon him at the time that there was a fine running and it wasn't complied. I have no dispute as to whether or not he knew at the end of that case if it was, but by June of 2019, he was certainly informed that there was a fine running.
June 2019?
June
Not 20.
16, sorry,
Right.
June 29, 2016.
But the fine hadn't started until August 1st, according to the
Well,
paperwork.
sir, Mr. Posner gave you every
I'm
opportunity.
sorry.
That's-
I wasn't trying to
I
interrupt
can only have one of you talking at a time. I'll give you an opportunity to respond.
Actually, he is correct on that point. He was explained that the fine would start. It was the adjudication and the affidavit of noncompliance that created the chronic nuisance case.
But, can I say something, please? Is that?
Okay? Go ahead.
That was it as far as that
First-
property goes.
First of all, that was an inaccurate statement about me arguing with any code officer. In fact, I remember Mr. Williams. He was a very nice guy. I never had any issue with him, never had an argument with him, so I don't know where you get that from. Just like the gentleman on 59th Street. You can talk to him and ask him how nice I've been and how compliable I've been with trying to get things done. It's not in my best interest to create confrontation when dealing with a code officer. So that statement is inaccurate, and I don't know where it came from. But as I said, I've always immediately addressed whatever has come my way. Yes, there have been a number of violations. He cites 3 properties. One of them was in reference to a fire, so that was 3 or 4 violations there. But the bottom line is, I believed I was in compliance. Nobody ever got back to me. I never received anything in the mail. No certified letter. No nothing to say a lien had started. So if there's no mechanism for communication, and I think that's been a central issue with even the previous two people that were up here, there's no way for me to even get to it immediately before the fine builds up. And you know, I'm just talking fairness here. I understand that I was in violation, and I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing the mechanism to be able to know that you know, that I know that it's finalized. Especially when I've wrote a letter before the fine even started saying that I believed it was completed, and you know, and I had told him to go back out there and inspect. I guess they waited to the day of the inspection, which is what he told me which is what I referred to in the letter. Perhaps that's a standard operating procedure with the code, is to go out there the day of. But as I mentioned, I did believe I was in compliance, and I had no idea it was even running.
Okay, I understand. So let's go ahead and move on to the second property.
The second property, the violation, I didn't know there were two. I thought there were one. So I'm a little surprised there were even two, because I took care of the grass, and I don't know where the code guy is. I guess they don't come to these hearings. But he can attest that I met him immediately, had sod put down where it was bare areas, and had the property cleaned up. The other issue, which was the bigger issue, was my tenant in this quote illegal unit. The property was purchased that way. I don't know how many years it's been, 20 years ago. The tenant had been there 15 years. And he was elderly. At this point, he's elderly. He's diabetic. He's on disability. Barely walks. Had nowhere to go. No family. Nowhere to go. I couldn't kick him out. Couldn't put him out on the street. I tried helping him find an assisted living, something, but he's got no money. You got to have a little bit of money. I mean, he gets like $500 a month in disability, and that's it. And he's on food stamps. So that's where I was coming from there. As far as and there was a little bit of miscommunication, and this is me being honest. When they first cited me for the illegal unit, after speaking with the code officer, he told me it was illegal, and I said, well, let me look into that. And then I looked I found it on the Palm Beach County property records. It's listed as an apartment. I don't know how long it's been listed as an apartment, but it's still listed as an apartment today. So when I got back to him about when we finally spoke again, which might have been 2 or 3 weeks after that, I don't know the exact time frame. He said that that's what the city had come up with, and that if I needed to, if I really needed to find out whether it had been, whether it is an illegal unit, that I needed to do what's called a permit search. So I called to do a permit search at the city, and the city basically told me that there was a fee for doing that. I think it was like $25 or $30 an hour, and it was give them your credit card. It was open. They didn't know how long it would take. That's the answer I got from the city. So I ended up having to go down there myself and try to, you know, look at what I could find as far as any kind of permits were concerned. And no, I did not find any permits, so I'm not arguing that, because the property was purchased that way. So I did not find any permits going back. So, but my biggest issue was just trying to find him a place to live, and that was a big issue, because by the time December ran around, it was the holidays. He's like, oh, let me try doing it. Let's see if we can find something after the holidays. And the biggest issue was the property is over off of Broadway. And because he's basically disabled and can't walk far, he had to be close by with all his, there's a food pantry over there, and there's some other things. He would not leave the area, which made it very difficult to find anything outside of the Broadway area. And to be quite honest with you, by the time I found him something, I had to scrape together the money myself to help him with the down payment on this little unit that he rented. And he also had a pet that he wouldn't leave, which made it even more difficult. He had a cat. And so that's where that was. I couldn't put him out on the street. I mean, I've got a heart, you know what? And the code guy, he can Robert, he can testify to this, because he'd spoken to him many a time. So not trying to make excuses, I'm just telling you the truth. And so that's why that fine ran the way it did, because there was just no way for me to move him without him, agreeing to move. And once January rolled around, not that I would have ever thought about evicting him, because I couldn't do that. But, you couldn't even go that route if you tried, because of the moratorium. But I wouldn't do that anyway. But there was just nowhere to, it was just a very difficult and sad situation. I couldn't do anything.
Okay, I appreciate all that. Let me go back to the city, and do you have questions or comments?
Well, the first thing I want to note is the current PAPA sheet shows it as 1 unit and single family. He made a statement that it still shows there's an apartment there with the county records,
On the
not according to property appraiser at the county. What it showed at the time of the original case, I don't have, but I don't have a rental license in our history for 2 units either. I'm not doubting that at some time Papa said 2 units, but the systems aren't connected. If somebody calls up Papa and says, we have a second unit here, they just change their records. They don't ask for permits, they don't check for anything like
It's
that.
still listed on Papa as a rental, as an apartment.
Magistrate, can I give him a copy of the Papa sheet?
Sure.
Is it show it up there now?
Okay, it's just printing. November 2nd of this year, 1 unit, single.
But it was on there, it was on there as of last year, when this whole thing started. I don't know what's on there now. I don't know if the city sent them something for them to have changed it, but it was on there.
It very well may have been, Magistrate, as I said, the 2 systems. The county doesn't ask, was it done properly, or did you get permits from the city? I had no other comments on the information he presented, other than a final comment of between the 2 properties in question, cited 42 times by the city.
But, like I said, I have complied every time, immediately. So it's not like, and I think these letters that I sent testify that, I don't take this stuff lightly, and I try to bring it into compliance immediately if there is an issue. I don't live there, so it's a different, it's like anybody else. It's a landlord. I don't live nearby, so, when something arises and I get a letter, I address it immediately. And like I said, had I known that one fine was running, it wouldn't have run. And that's kind of where it is. Okay. The 411 property is under contract. At this point, it's 50-50 whether it's going to, because of this whole issue and the dragging on, I don't know whether that's going to be able to close or not. Because their mortgage, that we signed an extension, but the mortgage commitment issue, and now she's saying she might have some problems with her this year's taxes. So I don't know whether it's going to be able to close or not, but hopefully it will, because it's my father's property. He needs the money with this whole coronavirus thing, and it's been and when he found out about this, he about had a heart attack. So,
Okay. All right, thank you both. So I have the property at 712 59th Street. We have 1 lien for $29,800, 1 lien for $35,200. I am going to agree to reduce each of those to $5,000. And then I have the property at 411 47th Street. This one's kind of tough, because I understand what you're saying, but on the other hand, this was a chronic nuisance case, and for a property to get to chronic nuisance status, it's got to have history and...
Yeah, but excuse me, Your Honor, the chronic nuisance...
Sir, I've given everybody
Well-
every opportunity to talk.
Okay,
It's now my turn.
I was just going to say, he
No,
mentioned
sir.
it started at the same time that the violation started.
$12,000, it's all payable within 6 months.
How much?
$12,000.
For all of it?
$12,000 for the case ending in 566, $5,000 for the case ending in 092, and $5,000 for the case ending in 589.
I don't think I can pay that within 6 months, Your
I'll
Honor.
sign those orders, thank you.
I don't think I can pay that within 6 months.
Okay, I'll give you up to a year. Make it 12 months. That's all. Thank you. What's the next case?
Sir, here's a copy of your orders. Number 2406 South Chillingworth Drive, CE 07020376.
If I could give you bonus consideration because you live on Chillingworth Street Drive, I would, because I'm absolutely fascinated with the Chillingworth story.
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
But I can't do that,
Let's do that, sir.
but nevertheless.
All right,
Go
first,
ahead.
if I can thank the magistrate, because I was about to verify the address.
Pardon me?
I want to thank you. I was about to verify which address was just called, and then you said that. So, thank you. Case ending in 376, 406 South Chillingsworth. Date ordered 4/27 of '07. Fine started 5/9 of '07, ran for 110 days. Total is $11,100 a day. Date of compliance 8/27 of '07. The applicant is the prior owner and the same owner that caused the lien case. 19 cases under their ownership, so another fairly city-managed property. Mitigation is they forgot to close out a permit, but there wasn't a permit issue. The fine was for bare landscape and landscape maintenance. There were several other issues that were cited but were fixed before the fine ran, and none of those were permitted issues either, so I don't even understand the forgot to close out the permit statement. It was caused by the applicant. The city's asking for 50%.
How much?
50.
50, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Philip Burke. My mother and I had owned that property. We currently sold it. My mother was living there. I was up in Houston working, and she wasn't aware that, there was violation. Because she was 84 years old, so that's what makes, it run to wherever it is. So we're asking for some leniency, and try to get it resolved, because we had to pretty much give away the property, because the mortgage was so high we couldn't afford it.
Okay. You said that the application talked about permits?
The
But
lien
there
reduction
aren't any-
application said it was caused because they did what they were supposed to, but they forgot to close out a permit. As I said, none of the violations related to a permit in any way whatsoever.
Can you explain what you were,
We purchased the property, I think in 2006, and we had an architect drawn up and did the remodeling, so we got some repair done, and I think mother had moved in before she was aware that, she didn't understand how the system works, so she had moved in, and I think we had forget to close out, one of the permits.
okay, because it doesn't look like any of the violations on this case have to do with building permits. It's more landscape maintenance and prohibited vehicles and kind of the general condition of the property.
We purchased it in 2006, I think, and we had one
And then it
car.
complied in '07, is that right, Mr. Posner? So it's been in compliance for a long time.
Complied in '07. It was the same year that the fine started.
Yeah. All right, anything else from the city on this?
No, sir.
Anything else that you'd like to tell me, sir?
No, sir, just for asking for some leniency. We don't have a lot of money, so,
All right, this case has a lien of $11,000 on it. I'll agree to reduce that to $2,000. How long will it take you to pay that? Can you do that in 6 months?
Yes, sir.
6 months.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And lastly, number 5, 1376 11th Street, CE 19020161.
afternoon.
Hello.
Before I begin, she wasn't sworn in, sir.
You were not, okay, let me go ahead and place you under oath, ma'am.
Lisette Ludmir.
Pardon me?
Lisette Ludmir. My name?
No, I need to swear you in, I need to put you under oath, that's all. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And go ahead and put your name on the record.
Lisette Ludmir.
And I'm sorry, there was a lot of outside noise. Say it again, please.
My name is Lisette Ludmir.
Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, Mr. Posner.
Just one point of confusion. I believe she's the property manager. She did submit the application, but she submitted a designated agent form for Ronald Grimbank?
Ronald Grobman is my husband, and he's the broker for the company. And I'm a real estate agent, and I'm a property manager for the company. And I'm the one that handles all these situations and whatever happens with the properties that we manage. I sent the application to Monique twice. The first one, I don't know which, there was a mistake or something. And then she told me that I have to make a correction. I made the correction and I sent it back.
Okay, city attorney advises we can proceed.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, case ending in 161, 1376 11th Street, date ordered 4/3 of 19, fine started 5/6 of 19, ran for 177 days. Total $35,400, $200 a day, date of compliance 10/30 of 19. Same owner. Mitigation is they had to register the LLC in Florida before getting the rental license, but the property managers opted to rent regardless when they apparently didn't know they didn't have a license. So it's fairly much willful culpability. City's asking for 50%.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
The owner of the property is a corporation in Delaware, and the city doesn't allow corporations that are not registered in Florida to proceed and request a business license. So as soon as we got the notice, we notified the owner, and they had to do all the process and all the paperwork to register the corporation in Florida. They had to do all the accounting and all the legal paperwork, and they don't live in the States. So it took longer than what we thought. And as soon as we got the property or the corporation registered in Florida, we proceed with the paperwork to get the license.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from the city?
Yes, there's several points from the case history of this one. First, where is it? I'm sorry, I'm looking for there it is. Before the hearing, the case officer spoke with the property manager, said what was needed, and they were aware of it at that time. Then, in June, which would be 4 months later, the same property manager called the case officer and said, I was unaware I needed a rental license. The idea of Lisette not being aware of that with as many properties she manages is fairly preposterous. Then in October of this year, this property came to our attention, and I had to discuss it with her because it connected to another lien reduction. Based on the ownership of the LLC, they subsequently changed the ownership in the LLC simply to avoid it being attached to the other lien reduction. So they're saying they're not aware of things they should be aware of, and they're manipulating the system. City's asking for 50%.
Excuse me, can you repeat the last part because I didn't understand? In October this year, you talked to me?
In October of this year, you and I spoke. This was connected to another lien reduction, and we spoke about the fact that you simply changed the Sunbiz ownership information on this property so it wouldn't be connected to the other lien reduction application.
I didn't talk to you in October this year. We got our business license last year, and we renewed the business license this year. So I don't know who did you speak to, because October this year,
She's correct. I'm reading the date wrong. It's October 22nd, 2019.
Thank you so
October of
much.
last year.
She's correct, but last October, they changed this, so it wasn't
Because-
connected to a lien reduction back then.
Well, because, let me explain, the owners, they don't live in the States. So they need to talk to somebody that lives in the States to be the manager or the appointed person for the corporation to register the corporation in Florida. So that's why it appears that name. I really don't know
So
what
so
is
the
the
code,
issue.
the code distinguishes between managers and managing members. If it's just manager, we don't connect them.
No, I understand how
Oh.
the LLC structure works, so.
It was re-explained to her. They made the change to avoid the connection.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell me, ma'am?
No?
Okay, anything else from the
I
city?
did whatever it was requested from me, as soon as I got the notice from the city or whatever, I contact the owner and I told him this is a situation.
Okay.
We need to solve the matter.
Understood. Thank you very much. Anything else from the city?
No, sir.
All right, so in this case, we have a current lien of $35,400. I'm going to agree to reduce that to $12,000. How long will it take you to pay that? 30 days?
I will have to talk to the owners. Actually, another question that I have is, they impose a fine of $200 per day for not having a business license.
Put 6 months on the order. That should be plenty of time. So I'll give them 6 months to pay that.
Thanks.
Okay. Is that everything, I think? All right,
Have one
then it is 12:46, and we stand adjourned.